Approximately 800 words, simple English, third-person narration, the twin sons of Arcalos burned high above the city. Their orange light fell on the iron walls of the slave market. Dust rose in the air, mixed with the smell of oil, sweat, and fear. The market was alive with voices, buyers shouting prices, sellers calling out their goods, and the sound of chains dragging on stone floors. In the center, a large auction block stood. On it, many creatures from across the stars were displayed. Some were tall, with shining scales. Others had 4 arms or glowing eyes. Each one was chained, their heads down. Traders shouted their worth, and the crowd argued over prices. But then came silence. From the back, a guard dragged a small figure forward. She stumbled and nearly fell. Her thin arms shook. Her face was pale, her eyes dull, her skin marked with scars. One of her legs was mechanical, but broken at the joint. Sparks flickered as she tried to walk. The guard pulled her up and threw her onto the platform like a broken tool. Lot number 94. The trader shouted. His voice echoed across the market. A half-broken slave girl. Cybernetic parts, but useless. Body weak, spirit crushed. She is worth nothing, but I offer her cheap, only 10 credits. For a moment, the crowd was quiet. And then laughter filled the air. 10 credits. That is too much for that trash. One alien laughed, showing sharp teeth. She cannot even stand. Her leg is broken, another shouted. I would not pay 1 credit for her, a third sneered. Better to throw her in the junk pile. The girl lowered her head. She did not speak. She had heard these words before. She had been passed from master to master, each time more cruel than the last. Now she was nothing but a joke. A piece of waste. The trader grew angry. 10 credits. Who will buy her? At least her parts can be sold for scrap. More laughter rose. A child in the crowd threw a stone at the girl. It hit her shoulder. She did not flinch. She had no more tears left to give. The guard yanked her chain again. Stand up. Show your face. Slowly, with effort, she raised her head. For 1 second, her dull eyes met the crowd. The laughter grew louder. Her eyes showed no fire, no fight. Only emptiness. No one will take her, a fat merchant said, shaking his head. Better to melt her leg for metal. Yes, another agreed. She is not even worth the food she will eat. The trader sighed and spread his arms. Fine. If no one wants her, she will be sent to the scrapyards. And then a voice came. I will take her. The crowd went silent. Heads turned. At the edge of the market stood a human. He wore a simple cloak, dust on his boots, and a calm expression on his face. His eyes were steady and his voice clear. The trader blinked in surprise. You want her? Yes, the human said. I will pay the 10 credits. The crowd erupted again. Laughter, jeers, and mocking words filled the air. A fool, he wastes his money. 10 credits for broken trash. Humans are mad. But the human did not answer. He walked forward, his steps slow and firm. He placed the credits in the trader's hand. The trader grinned wide. Happy to be rid of the girl at last. The chain was unhooked from the platform and handed to the human. The girl looked up at him. For the first time, her eyes showed a flicker of confusion. Why? Why would anyone choose her? She opened her lips, but no sound came. The human met her gaze. His eyes did not show pity. They showed something else, something quiet, steady, and unshaken. The trader shouted again to the crowd. Sold. Lot 94, sold for 10 credits. Ha! To the foolish human. The market exploded in laughter. Voices shouted, mocked, and cursed. But the human ignored them. He took the chain, helped the girl to her feet, and began to lead her away. Behind them, the laughter followed like an echo. The girl stumbled as she walked. Her broken leg made her slow. Each step was painful. She expected the human to strike her, to shout at her, but he did not. He slowed his pace to match hers. For the first time in years, no whip cracked against her back. The girl could not understand. She lowered her head again, afraid to hope. Hope was dangerous. Hope always led to pain. But deep inside, a small question rose in her heart. Why? Why would he pay for her? Why would he choose the one that all others rejected? The market laughed at her price. They mocked her broken body. But the human's calm steps beside her whispered of something else. Something she could not name yet. Something waiting in the shadows of tomorrow. Approximately 800 words. Third-person narration. Simple English, the market's noise still echoed in the girl's ears as the human pulled her chain gently. Around them, laughter rose like smoke. Traders clapped each other's backs. Children pointed, shouting words she had heard many times before. Trash, scrap, worthless. But the human did not seem to hear them. His steps were slow and steady, not proud, not rushed. He walked as if the noise around him did not exist. The girl stumbled again. Her broken leg dragged on the stone floor, sparks flickering at the joint. She waited for the usual strike, the whip, the kick, but none came. Instead, the human stopped. He turned toward her, his face calm. "Can you walk?" he asked. She froze. His voice was not harsh. It was quiet, like water flowing over stones. For a moment, she could not answer. No master had ever asked her such a question. "I can try," she whispered. The human nodded once. Then, without a word, he bent down and unhooked the chain from her wrist. The girl's eyes widened. She had never felt that cold metal leave her skin, not since she was a child. The weight of the chain gone, her wrist felt strange, almost light. She did not understand. She thought it was a trick. She looked up at him, waiting for the blow that must follow. But he only said, "Walk beside me." Not behind. The words hit her harder than any strike. Walk beside him. Not behind, not crawling, not dragging. Her lips trembled, but no sound came. Slowly, unsure, she stepped closer. Her broken leg made her stumble again, but the human caught her arm, steadying her. The market gates loomed ahead. Guards leaned on their spears, watching. One of them laughed. "You wasted credits, human. She will collapse before the next turn of the suns." The human's eyes met the guards, calm and steady. "We will see." Then he kept walking. The girl followed. Each step was heavy, but she felt something different. No one had ever defended her, not even with such simple words. The laughter of the crowd faded as they passed through the gates into the open. Streets of Arcalos. The city outside was alive with strange smells and sounds, hover carts rattling, engines roaring, vendors shouting. The girl's head swam. She had not seen the city without chains for years. They moved through the crowded streets until they reached a small docking bay. Ships of every shape and size rested their rusted freighters, sleek couriers, bulky cargo haulers. The human led her toward a modest vessel at the far end. Its hull was scratched, but its lights still glowed steady. The ramp lowered with a hiss, and the smell of clean metal reached her. "This is your ship?" she asked in a weak voice. "Yes," the human replied. "It will be your home now." Her chest tightened. Home? She had no word for that. For her, there had only ever been cages, cold rooms, and chains. Inside the ship was small, but neat. Tools were arranged on the walls, screens flickered softly, and a simple chair stood by the controls. It was not rich, but it was. Peaceful, the human guided her to a seat and brought her water. She looked at the cup with suspicion. Masters gave commands, not kindness. She sniffed it, then drank. The cool liquid slid down her throat, and she almost cried. She could not remember the last time water had been given freely. "Why?" she whispered. The human turned toward her. "Why what?" "Why? By me. I am broken. I cannot work. I cannot fight. Why spend credits?" For the first time, a small smile touched his face. "Because you are not broken. You are alive." That is enough. The words echoed in her mind. She was not broken. All her life, she had been told she was worthless. A tool, a mistake. And yet this stranger said otherwise, without hesitation. But suspicion burned in her chest. She narrowed her eyes. "Are you lying? Will you sell me again?" His gaze did not waver. "No, I do not sell people. You are free." The word struck her like lightning. Free. She almost laughed at it, but no sound came. Her whole body shook. Freedom was a dream she had buried long ago. It could not be real. "You are strange," she whispered. "Maybe," the human said, "but you are stranger." You survived. Silence filled the small ship. For the first time in years, silence without chains, without shouting. She felt her body trembling, but not from fear, something else. Something she could not yet name. Outside, the engines hummed a life. The ship lifted from the ground. The city of chains grew smaller below them. The market, the laughter. The iron walls all fading into the distance. But the girl could not forget the sound of the human's words. "You are not broken. You are alive." The stars opened before them. For the first time, she dared to wonder what would it mean to live beside him and not behind. The market had mocked her price. But in this moment, as the ship broke through the clouds, the girl felt the first spark of something she thought she had lost forever. Hope. Approximately 800 words, third-person narration, simple English. The ship drifted through the endless dark of space. Stars glimmered outside the window, cold and silent. Inside, the girl sat on a narrow bunk, her head bent low. The hum of the engines was steady, like a heartbeat in the walls. She touched her wrist where the chain had once been. The skin still carried red marks, deep lines that would never fade. For years, the chain had been part of her body. Now it was gone, and yet she still felt its weight. The human moved quietly through the ship, checking the controls, repairing tools, writing notes on a datapad. He did not speak unless needed. His silence was not cruel, it was calm, patient, as if he knew she needed space. But silence was dangerous for her. Silence meant her mind began to wander, and the memories returned. She remembered the cages, iron bars that smelled of rust. Other slaves around her, too weak to speak, their eyes hollow. She remembered the sound of boots on stone, the masters coming, choosing who would be dragged away. Her hands trembled. She remembered her first master, who had bought her as a child. He had called her an experiment, something between machine and flesh. Her broken leg was not born, it was built. Built to make her strong, but it had failed. The joint never worked right, the circuits always sparking. Useless, he had said, before selling her to another. Each new master was worse. Some used her for labor until she collapsed. Others used her for games of cruelty. She had been beaten, starved, mocked. Each time she tried to fight back, punishment followed. The broken leg had been smashed more than once, only half repaired. Her eyes burned with tears, but she did not let them fall. She had promised herself long ago, no more tears. She whispered to herself, "I am nothing, only broken parts." The human's voice startled her. "You are not nothing." She looked up sharply. She had not realized he was standing near the doorway. His face was calm as always, but his eyes were sharp. "You heard me," she said, her voice trembling. "Yes," he replied. "I hear you, even when you whisper." Her anger rose. Anger was easier than fear. "Why do you pretend I have worth? You don't know me. You don't know what I am." He stepped closer, slowly, as if not to frighten her. "Then tell me, what are you?" She opened her mouth, but no words came. All the things she wanted to say twisted in her throat. She wanted to shout, "I am a failure. I am trash. I am nothing." But deep inside, another voice whispered, what if he did not laugh? What if he believed her? Her chest ached. She turned her face away. "I am broken. I was built to be strong, but I am weak. Masters sold me again and again. No one wanted me. Even the market laughed at me. That is what I am." The human listened without interruption. He did not shake his head. He did not argue. When she finished, his answer was quiet. "You are alive." She stared at him. "That is not enough." "It is the beginning," he said simply. The girl looked at his face, searching for mockery. There was none. His eyes were steady, unshaken. Her voice cracked. "If I am alive, then why does it hurt to breathe? Why do I feel like I am already dead inside?" The human did not answer quickly. He sat on the chair across from her, folding his hands. "Because the past still holds you," he said. "Chains can stay even when removed. But chains can break." She laughed bitterly, a sound with no joy. "Not mine. My chains are inside me." Then he said, "We will break them together." The words froze her. Together. No one had ever said that to her. She was always alone, always against the world, always weak before the strong. The idea that someone would share her burden it was almost too much to believe. Her hands shook again. She pressed them against her eyes as if to hide. She did not want him to see the tears. But one slipped out anyway, rolling down her scarred cheek. He did not point it out. He did not touch her. He only sat there, silent, patient. For the first time, the silence did not feel dangerous. It felt safe. Later, when he left the room, she lay back on the bunk and stared at the ceiling. The hum of the engines filled her ears. She thought about his words, turning them over again and again. "You are alive. Chains can break. We will break them together." She whispered them softly to herself, afraid the words might vanish if she said them too loud. The stars outside the window burned bright, endless, untouchable. But for the first time, she dared to think maybe her story was not finished yet. Maybe broken things could still be rebuilt. And, deep inside her chest, something stirred. A spark. Weak, fragile, but real. Hope, approximately 800 words. Third-person narration. Simple English. The ship moved through the silent black sea of stars. Inside, the girl sat on the floor near the small engine room. The faint hum of the core vibrated through her bones. She had chosen this corner because it was warm, and because she could hide there when her chest grew too heavy. The human entered, carrying a small tray. Simple food rested on it: bread, fruit, and water. He placed it near her without a word. She glanced at him, suspicious at first, then slowly pulled the tray closer. The bread was soft. Too soft. She was used to hard scraps, stale and dry. The fruit was sweet, the juice dripping down her fingers. For a moment, she forgot to be afraid. For a moment, she simply ate, like a person, not like a tool. When she finished, she wiped her mouth with the back of her hand. Then she froze. The human was watching her. Not with pity. Not with judgment. Only with quiet patience. "Why do you look at me like that?" She asked. "Because you are stronger than you think," he said. She shook her head sharply. No, I am weak. Broken. Broken things can still shine, he replied. The words burned in her mind. She wanted to reject them, to throw them away. But something deep inside her resisted. She pushed herself up from the floor, leaning on the wall for balance. Her broken cybernetic leg sparked faintly, the metal grinding. She tried to take a step. Her body wobbled. She fell forward. The human moved quickly, catching her before she hit the ground. "Careful," he said. "Don't touch me," she snapped, pulling away. Her voice was sharp, but her eyes were wet. "I must stand alone." He nodded once, stepping back. "Then stand." Her breath came fast. Her heart hammered. She pressed her hand against the wall and forced her body to rise again. Her legs shivered, circuits flickering. Pain shot up through her bones. She gritted her teeth. One step, another. She stumbled, but did not fall. Sweat rolled down her face. The human did not move. He only watched. His silence was not cruel. It was trust. At last she collapsed onto the bunk, gasping for air. Her hands shook, her legs sparked. But a small smile touched her lips. "I did not fall," she whispered. The human's eyes softened. "No, you did not." For the first time, her chest swelled with something unfamiliar. Pride. Weak, fragile, but real. Later, as she lay back, the hum of the engine wrapped around her like a lullaby. But sleep did not come easily. Inside her chest, something strange began to stir. A faint vibration. She touched her skin near her collarbone. Underneath, hidden deep, something glowed faintly. A circuit? A memory. She did not know images flickered through her mind machines, wires. Voices calling her an experiment. She remembered hands pushing her onto a cold table. The smell of metal burning, the sound of drills. She remembered someone shouting, "She is not ready. Shut it down." She gasped, clutching her chest. The glow faded. The humming inside her body grew quiet again. When she opened her eyes, the human was standing in the doorway. He had not spoken, but she could tell he had seen the faint light beneath her skin. "What? What is inside me?" she asked, her voice shaking. "You will find out," he said calmly. She shivered. "What if it is dangerous?" "Then," he answered, "we will face it together." The words sank into her bones. Together. Again that word. A word she had never trusted before. She turned away, hiding her face. But in the dark, she whispered to herself, "Maybe I am not only broken." Outside the ship's window, the stars burned brighter than ever. Approximately 810 words. Third-person narration. Simple English, the stars stretched endlessly outside the ship's window. For a short time, the girl allowed herself to feel safe. The human sat at the controls, guiding the vessel through dark space. The hum of the engines was steady, like a calm heartbeat. But calm never lasts. The warning alarm screamed suddenly, sharp and loud. Red lights flashed across the cabin. The girl flinched, gripping the side of the chair. "What is it?" she asked as the human's eyes narrowed. "Pirates." She turned to the window. Shadows moved across the stars. 3 ships slid out from the darkness. Their jagged hulls glowing with cruel red lights. The comms crackled. A rough voice filled the cabin. "Freighter, cut your engines. Hand over your cargo or be destroyed." The girl's chest tightened. She knew that voice. Not the man, but the type. She had heard it before, many times. Voices that gave no mercy. Voices that ended lives for sport. The human spoke calmly into the comm. "I have nothing you want. Leave." Laughter echoed back. "Then we'll take your ship instead." Blaster fire tore across the sky. The human pulled the controls sharply. The ship shook, metal groaning. The girl fell against the chair, her broken leg sparking. "We cannot fight them," she cried. The human's hands moved swiftly, steady on the controls. "We will try." The pirates closed in, their ships circling like predators. More fire lit the darkness. Shields flickered. Warning alarms grew louder. The girl's body trembled. Memories flooded her mind chains, cages, screams. She had always been helpless, always weak, always the one others mocked or threw aside. Now, death came again, and the human. He was going to die because of her. He rose from the chair, pulling a weapon from the wall. Not a heavy cannon, just a simple blaster rifle. His eyes met hers. "Stay here." She grabbed his arm, shaking her head. "You cannot fight them all." "Sometimes," he said softly. "Fighting is the only choice." He stepped toward the door as the ship shook again. Her chest ached. Her breath came fast. She wanted to scream, "Leave me, save yourself." But the words would not come. Instead, she felt something else afire rising inside her. She could not lose him. Not this one person who had looked at her and seen more than trash. The glow returned. It started faint, deep under her skin, a vibration in her bones. She clutched her chest, gasping. The glow spread, lines of light crawling up her neck, down her arms. Circuits hidden beneath flesh came alive, pulsing like veins of fire. Her eyes widened. No, not again. The human turned, his rifle in hand. He saw the light burning from her skin. His face did not show fear, only recognition. "It's inside you." The ship shook violently as another blast hit. Sparks flew from the ceiling. The girl screamed not in fear, but in something deeper. Rage, pain, a need to protect. The glow exploded. Energy burst from her body in a wave of light. It rushed outward, through the walls of the ship, into space itself. The nearest pirate ship froze in mid-flight. Its engines sputtered, lights flickered. Then it tore apart in silence, ripped by unseen force. The second ship spun violently, alarms screaming before it veered away in panic. The third ship fired one last desperate shot before vanishing into hyperspace. Silence returned. The girl collapsed onto the floor, her body shaking, smoke rising from her broken leg. Her chest heaved, skin still glowing faintly before the light dimmed. The human dropped his rifle and rushed to her side. He lifted her gently, laying her back on the bunk. Her lips trembled. What did I do?" He looked at her, steady as ever. "You saved us." Tears filled her eyes. "No, I am dangerous. You saw? I destroy everything I touch." He shook his head. "No, you are not destruction. You are strength. You only need to learn who you are." She closed her eyes, sobbing weakly. Her body ached, her energy drained. But deep inside, something shifted. For the first time, she was not only a victim. She had faced death and won. The market had laughed at her price. The galaxy had called her worthless. But in that single burst of light, she had proved them wrong. The human covered her with a blanket, his voice quiet. "Rest. The test is only beginning." As sleep pulled her under, one thought burned in her fading mind. If this power is mine, then maybe I am not broken. Maybe I was never broken at all. Outside, the stars stretched on. Silent witnesses to the birth of something new. Approximately 815 words. Third-person narration. Simple English, the ship floated in silence. The stars outside looked calm, but inside the cabin, the girl lay trembling. Her body ached, her chest burned, and faint lines of light still glowed beneath her skin. She remembered the pirate ship tearing apart. The screaming energy inside her chest. The power that had poured out of her like fire. Her voice cracked. I destroyed them. The human sat by her bunk, quiet. He had given her water, patched her leg as best as he could, and now simply stayed beside her. His presence was steady, like an anchor in a storm. She turned her face away. Shame filled her chest. I told you I was broken. You saw it. I am a weapon, not a person. The human's voice was calm. You are not a weapon. You are alive. She shook her head fiercely. Alive? No. Look at me. I killed them. I burn everything I touch. I should never have left the market. I should have been left to rot. Her words spilled like poison. She wanted him to hate her, to push her away, to prove her fear true. But he did not. Instead, he leaned closer. His voice was steady. You did not kill because you wanted to. You fought because you had no choice. You saved us. You saved me. Her eyes widened. Tears slid down her cheeks. Saved you. Yes, he said. You gave me life when the galaxy tried to take it. That is not destruction. That is strength. Her breath shook. She wanted to believe him, but the weight of her past pressed down heavy. She remembered her masters calling her a failed experiment, a mistake, a tool too broken to be useful. She remembered laughter, chains, and cages. All my life, she whispered, they said I was worthless. Even in the market, they laughed. 10 credits. That was my price. The human's eyes burned with quiet fire. They were wrong. She looked at him, broken and raw. Then what am I worth? For a long moment, silence filled the cabin. The hum of the engine was the only sound. Then the human spoke, his voice low but firm. You are worth more than credits, more than chains, more than their laughter. Your worth is not decided by markets or masters. It is yours, and to me. You are priceless. The word struck her like a lightning bolt. Priceless. She had been bought and sold so many times she had forgotten what it felt like to be seen as more than property. Her tears fell faster. She covered her face with her hands, but her voice still escaped. I am afraid. Afraid of myself. Afraid of what I might become. The human reached out, not to grab, not to force, but to place his hand gently over hers. Then be afraid. But do not let fear decide who you are. Fear does not make you broken. It makes you human. Her chest shook with sobs. His words felt impossible, yet they sank deep. No master had ever spoken like this. No voice had ever called her more than a tool. Slowly, she lowered her hands. Her eyes met his. In them, she saw no fear, no disgust. Only calm trust. Her voice was small, trembling. You really believe I have worth? Yes, he said, without hesitation. Because you do. The simple certainty in his tone shattered the last wall inside her. She broke down, crying openly, not caring if he saw. Years of silence cracked open, years of pain pouring out, and for the first time, she did not cry alone. The human stayed beside her until the storm of her grief passed. He did not speak again, did not need to. His presence was enough at last. Her tears slowed. Her breathing steadied. She lay weak but lighter, as if some of her chains had finally fallen away. She whispered softly, almost too quiet to hear. If I am priceless, then maybe I can live. Not as a slave, not as a tool, but as me. The human nodded. Yes, as you. The girl closed her eyes, holding on to his words. In the darkness of her mind, the echo of the market's laughter faded. In its place, a new voice, Rose's voice, steady and true. You are priceless. For the first time in her life, she began to believe it. 820 words, third-person narration. Simple English, the ship drifted quietly through the stars, far from the pirate ambush. The engines hummed low, steady, like a heartbeat that promised safety. The girl sat by the window, watching the endless black sea. For the first time, she looked at the stars not with fear, but with wonder. They no longer felt like cold eyes staring down at her. They looked like doors, millions of them waiting to open. She touched her wrist, where chains had once dug into her skin. The red marks were still there, scars of a life she could not erase. But tonight, those scars felt different. They were no longer reminders of weakness. They were proof of survival. The human stepped into the cabin. His cloak was folded neatly across one arm, his face calm as always. He carried a small box, which he placed on the table between them. "What is it?" she asked, curious. "Yours," he said simply. She hesitated, then opened it. Inside lay a band made of simple metal, polished but plain. At first, she thought it was another shackle, and her heart froze. But when she lifted it, she saw the difference: no lock, no chain, no weight of control. Only a symbol. Her voice shook. "What does it mean?" "It means choice," the human said. "Not mine, yours. You can wear it if you want, or throw it away. No one will decide but you." Her hands trembled as she held the band. For years, every piece of metal on her body had been forced on her: implants, chains, broken machines. But this was hers to decide. She slipped it onto her wrist. It fit easily, light as air. For the first time, she wore something not as a slave, but as a person. A small smile touched her lips. Strange, weak, but real. The human studied her quietly. "You are ready." She frowned. "Ready for what?" "To walk forward," he answered. "Not behind me. Not under anyone. Beside me, into whatever comes next." Her heart thudded. The words felt heavy, but not with fear. Heavy with promise. She looked at him. "Do you really mean that? Even after what I did? After the power I used?" "Yes," he said, without hesitation. "Your power does not make you a monster. Your choices do. And you chose to protect. That is who you are." Her chest swelled. For so long she had been told who she was: a failure, a mistake, a broken tool. Now, for the first time, she could tell herself. "I am not broken," she whispered. The human's eyes softened. "No, you are whole." Silence filled the cabin, warm and steady. But deep in her chest, the strange hum returned: the hidden circuits, the implanted core. It pulsed faintly, like a sleeping storm. She touched her collarbone where the light had once burned through. "What if it wakes again?" she asked. "What if next time I cannot control it?" The human's answer was simple. "Then you will not face it alone." Her throat tightened. She turned back to the stars, and for the first time in years, the future did not look like a cage. It looked open, wide, waiting. She closed her eyes and breathed deeply. The air tasted different, not like fear. Like freedom. In her mind, she still heard the voices of the market, laughing at her price, 10 credits for a broken slave. But those voices were fading now, swallowed by a stronger truth. She remembered his words instead. "You are priceless," and in that moment she believed them. The ship cut through the black, its lights burning bright. The girl sat tall, her back straight, her eyes steady. No longer a slave, no longer a broken thing. The galaxy had mocked her, sold her, chained her. But now it would learn her name, and when it did, it would not laugh, it would remember.